Two fishermen arrive at the same lake at dawn. Both cast identical lures to the same spot using the same technique. One of them fills his cooler in under 3 hours and leaves before lunch. The other sits there all day and goes home with nothing but frustration. The difference wasn't skill or expensive gear or secret spots. The difference was a small object dropped near the hook that created an underwater feeding zone fish couldn't resist. This is the technique professional guides charge hundreds of dollars per day to reveal, and today you're getting it for free. The proof starts with an experiment that shocked even the fisherman who ran it. He set up two identical rods with the same lures and cast them 6 feet apart in the same cove. Everything was exactly the same except for one variable. Near the left rod, and he dropped 3 small objects into the water and let them sit on the bottom. Near the right rod, he left the bottom completely empty, just like everyone else does. In the first 30 minutes, the difference was already impossible to ignore. The rod without the objects sat completely still with the lure untouched by any fish in the area. The rod near the objects bent hard 4 separate times, landing 3 keeper bass and losing 1 at the boat. By the end of hour 2, the score was absolutely ridiculous. The rod near the objects had caught 9 fish with 6 over 3 pounds each. The rod in the empty spot had caught exactly 0 fish, despite being worked perfectly. He ran this test 3 more times over the following week at different lakes with different species. Every single time, the results followed the same pattern with overwhelming consistency. The rod near the objects always outperformed the control rod by margins of 5 to 1 or greater. In his final note, he wrote that in 40 years of fishing, he had never seen a technique create such a dramatic advantage so quickly. The secret wasn't the lure, the rod, the line, or the fisherman's skill level. The secret was what sat on the bottom near the hook, creating an irresistible feeding trigger. Welcome to Angler's Vault, where we recover the knowledge that keeps guides in business and anglers in the dark. If this is your first time here, hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because we're about to open doors the industry once kept locked. This bottom placement technique is just one method that professionals guard jealously while selling you expensive solutions that work half as well. I've compiled everything guides don't want you discovering in the Complete Angler's Blueprint, a resource that covers natural attractants, reading structure, and techniques passed down from old-timers who caught fish before tackle catalogs existed. The link sits in the description, but stay right here because this video is about to reveal something guides would rather you never figure out. This technique isn't some modern invention created by tournament anglers or YouTube channels. Along the rivers of the Midwest, old-timers have used strategic bottom placement for over a century. In the backwaters of the upper Mississippi, veteran anglers would arrive at their holes before dawn and place specific items on the bottom before ever casting a line. They'd wait 20 minutes for the magic to begin, then catch fish, while others struggled nearby without understanding why. In the Tennessee River system, guides who worked for generations knew that certain objects on the bottom created what they called hot zones, where fish would congregate and feed aggressively for hours. In the Great Lakes tributaries, guides used variations of this method during migration runs with devastating effectiveness. They'd place materials strategically in current seams and watch as fish would move into those exact spots and hold their feeding. What connects all these regional traditions is a simple biological truth. Predator fish are hardwired to associate certain environmental cues with easy feeding opportunities, and when those cues are present, fish will actively seek out and remain in those zones because their survival instincts tell them food is abundant there. The technique I'm about to teach you taps directly into this hardwired behavior using materials you already have or can acquire for almost nothing. Let's head to your garage because that's where the materials are waiting. You need rocks or stones roughly the size of golf balls or slightly larger, nothing fancy or special. Clean them with water to remove any dirt or debris. You need 3 to 5 rocks depending on the size of the area you're fishing. Now, here's where it gets interesting. You're going to coat these rocks with a mixture that creates the feeding trigger fish cannot resist. Take a can of sardines in oil, the cheapest you can find at any grocery store. Drain about half the oil into a container and mash the sardines into a thick paste. Add a tablespoon of oatmeal or breadcrumbs to give it binding consistency that sticks to the rocks. Mix it thoroughly until you have a paste that's thick enough to coat, but thin enough to slowly dissolve in water. Now take each rock and coat it completely with this mixture, making sure every surface is covered. Let the coated rocks sit for about 10 minutes so the mixture sets slightly and adheres better to the surface. When you get to your fishing spot, cast your lure or bait to the exact area you want to fish. Then take your coated rocks and gently drop them around your target zone in a rough circle pattern. Drop them about 3 to 6 feet away from where your lure is working, not directly on top of it. The rocks will sink to the bottom and immediately begin releasing oils, proteins, and aromatic compounds into the water column. These compounds dissolve slowly and create an invisible scent trail that spreads with current and convection. Fish detect these compounds from remarkable distances, and their predator instincts drive them to investigate the source, expecting to find bait fish feeding on something. When they arrive at your scent zone, your lure or bait is sitting right there looking like the easiest target available. The science behind why this works is remarkably straightforward once you understand fish sensory biology. Every predator fish species possesses a lateral line system that detects chemical gradients in the surrounding water. When oils and amino acids enter the water, they create a chemical signature that travels much farther than visual cues ever could. Fish have olfactory receptors thousands of times more sensitive than human noses, capable of detecting individual molecules diluted in millions of gallons of water. It's comparable to you smelling a single drop of perfume released in an Olympic swimming pool from across the deck. When sardine oils hit the water, they release omega fatty acids that are chemically identical to the oils released by injured or feeding bait fish. To a predator's brain, this chemical signature means one thing only: vulnerable prey fish are present and feeding in this exact location right now. The response is automatic and instinctual, overriding caution and triggering aggressive feeding behavior almost immediately. There's a secondary mechanism at work that old-timers understood without needing laboratory explanations. The oils create a visual slick on the surface that fish associate with bait fish activity, because bait fish oils naturally rise when they're feeding or being attacked by predators. Bass, walleye, pike, and every other predator species have learned through evolution that surface slicks indicate feeding opportunities below. When they see that slick, they move toward it and begin hunting in that zone with heightened focus. Now let me tell you why professional guides would rather eat their hats than teach you this method. The guiding industry generates millions of dollars annually by positioning guides as gatekeepers to secret knowledge and productive spots that regular anglers supposedly can't access on their own. When you book a guided trip, you're paying for the guide's knowledge of where fish are and how to catch them consistently. If every angler knew how to create their own productive zones using $5 worth of materials from the grocery store, the value proposition of guided trips collapses almost overnight. Guides sell you on the idea that their years of experience and secret techniques are irreplaceable. But when you can drop some coated rocks and turn any structure into a feeding zone within 30 minutes, suddenly you don't need to pay someone hundreds of dollars for access to their secret spots. You can create your own secret spots anywhere you want to fish. Think about what happens on your next fishing trip when you show up with a container of coated rocks, while everyone else is fishing the same old way. You drop your rocks, wait patiently, then start hooking fish consistently while they're still waiting for their first bite. That's not luck. That's applied knowledge. Subscribe to Angler's Vault so you never miss the techniques that actually work.